Today is the day. The RedHead steering gearbox has arrived. We're gonna open her up. Came with this little package. It has a few seals in it. Has some instructions for bleeding the gearbox and getting the air out of the system. Lovely assistant here doing the camera work for me now. So some core return instructions, which I don't have. The core return, I already sent it to them, and bleeding instructions, pretty detailed, which are pretty cool. I'll post a picture of that at the end of the video, but that's really handy. I was hoping that would come with that. And some little seals just in case you need them. It says if you have a flared fitting, you don't need these, which mine is a flared, so probably won't need those, but cool they sent that little RedHead package of seals. And here we go. The new Bendix steering gear for F100/F250. It's a boat anchor. There she is in the RedHead color, black and red. Really nice. Fresh rebuild. Hopefully this thing will never ever leak again. So we're gonna do a install video. Probably do the bleeding instructions and go through the bleeding process and get it all installed and have some sweet brand new steering on the old Ford truck. So stay tuned and we'll have the installation video coming up. Sweet. So I also got this new rag joint, part number Lars 202, to go on this puppy, and I also got this this fitting. There it is. This fitting for the return line, brand new. That was from, I believe I got that from Rock Auto, both of these parts. So figured I'd throw some new fittings on there, have everything fit really nice. I got a new pressure hose as well for the power steering, so that should go in nice and snug in there. So yeah, gonna get this thing started. Maybe put the rag joint on first and then assemble it with the rag joint on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so the rag joint doesn't really just slip right on there. I ran into this issue before. So I'm gonna pry it a little apart, get the screws threaded in before I get it on there. Pry it apart, get the screw threaded in, and then get it on. So that's the route I'm gonna take. Let's see how that works out. So I was able to open it up a little bit, get it started. I believe this is like a 36 spline shaft. I'm just gonna get a little socket that fits right there and give it an ever so gently little tap-a-roo to get it seated on the shaft. We're gonna try that. Alright, so I got the rag joint all the way on. I just put a tiny bit of grease on that shaft and tapped it with the good old socket around the shaft there here, and yeah, she popped on nice and easy. So got the rag joint on. Now to bolt it to the truck, it's kind of a bench press situation. You got to lift it from underneath and get it to bolt up right there on the frame rail. So I'm gonna make that attempt here. So trying to get the motivation for that now. So here we go. So here's a little pointer. I don't know how good you can see that, but if this rag joint is pushed all the way down, the bolt hole now does not line up. So they keyed the shaft to be able to line up perfectly right there, and then you're able to put your bolt in. So I remember I stripped the heck out of another rag joint trying to lock it in with it all the way pushed down, so that was probably my problem. So yeah, it gives you like a little passageway, and it helps you know how lined up your rag joint is. So just a little tip. Any adjustment will void the warranty. This gear has been bench tested, double checked for play. There's no play in this steering gear. That's good to know. I do not plan on adjusting anything, so beware. RedHead knows what they're doing. Do not touch it. Kind of want to cover up these cool stickers and maybe tape off this sweet paint job so I don't scratch it up going on in, but we'll see how that goes. Got the rag joint tightened on. Check to see if my return line fitting fits. It fits great. Turn line's gonna fit. I got a brand new return hose here, or pressure hose, I'm sorry. So I got a brand new pressure hose here. I got it all taped off to keep the dirties and the naughties out of it. So yeah, getting close, getting ready to go in. So around to the other side, they ship it with these bolts in here. Not for mounting. Not for mounting. I got the original bolts. They cleaned up real nice. Gonna stick those guys back in there. So I'm gonna get these bolts out of there. Yeah. So another benefit of putting the rag joint on first, I've done this a couple times, is that once it's in the truck, you have like this much room to try to get it on, try to get that bolt tightened to fasten it. So the best way, loosen the column, drop it down, same thing as the removal process. You get an extra like 4 inches of play to pull it back. Once you get the gearbox mounted up, then you could just slide this thing forward and line up the rag joint to connect onto the back side of the column. So that's the goal here. Get it up and mounted and then line this part up with the rag joint and get that bolted up. That's the easiest way I've found. So I'm gonna start to it. Might need to get some help here to get this this gearbox pulled up and in, but we'll see. So I went ahead and took these little bracket bolts off that connect to the rag joint. I'll go ahead and put those on once I get everything lined up and mounted. It lines up with these 2 pins and has a little bit of play, so you're able to line that up. So I'm gonna go ahead and install it. I'm gonna leave the pitman arm off so I could bleed it out. They say you could either jack it up and leave the wheels hanging, or just leave the pitman arm off and spin the wheels side to side without it running first to bleed the air out. So we'll go through that before. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the pitman arm off, install it with these bolts off, and then I'll be able to tighten them up. It's a 1/2 inch bolt on each side. So I got this little ratchet 1/2 inch wrench and little socket. So that should go smooth. All right, so I was able to move this pressure hose out of the way and kind of fish it down there and set it on the frame pretty close to lined up. So now I'm gonna climb under and try to wiggle it and line the bolts up. So pretty successful from bringing it in from the top. Oh, that looks so sweet down there. So here we go. Well, ladies and gents, she's in. I was able to fish it down here, get it balanced kind of on that little steering column collar there. Crawled underneath, put the 3 bolts in the frame, and just kind of fished it in, lined it all up, and took a little bit of persuasion, but yeah, I got it in from up top, so that was a lot easier than lifting it up from the bottom. Still had to hold it up for quite a while. It'd be a lot better to have a second guy really helping you guide these bolt holes in. It was really hard to line those up, but she's in. I just got to line the column up with the rag joint and get that bolted up, but it's bolted down, and that looks awesome down there. And I managed to not scratch it all up too. You still see my America sticker. That adds like 10 ponies at least. Awesome, so yeah, I'm gonna try to line this steering column now. Beautiful, so I was able just to line the pins up and lift up on the steering column. I lifted up on it and just set the 2 little bolts in to hold it up. And now I could go get the steering column or collar or rag joint bolted together to the column, and then I'll come button this thing up and put the trim back on. So that worked out really nice. Zero issue getting that lined up. I thought it was going to be a little tougher, but it lined up beautifully. All right, so I got the rag joint all tightened up, and then I added the little return line adapter. I'm going to get the pressure hose mounted on. Kind of moved that out of the way when I was putting the gearbox in, but I'm just going to loosen it up. It has this little 90-degree turn to turn in and go down, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen that back up, get that lined up, get that mounted on, and start the bleeding process. All right, so come a little ways. Got the exhaust mounted back up, got all the lines hooked up. Got it filled with fluid. I went through the bleeding process. I had to fill the reservoir, turn it back and forth about 20 times from lock to lock. I got that all done, kept the reservoir nice and full to avoid air from going in. Now all I gotta do is start it up. Problem is my battery died, so I'm gonna jump it, get it started up, finish bleeding the process, then attach the pitman arm to the wheels, and I'll be rocking and rolling with this puppy. So yeah, bleeding it out. I got this little towel to catch some loose fluid, and so yeah, now I'm just waiting for my jumper cables to arrive. So yeah, it's kind of dark out now, but almost there. Alright, so here we are the next day. Got everything mounted correctly, got all the lines attached, got all the air bled out of it, got the exhaust back attached, and everything's bone dry. Took it for a spin. Everything seems great. Zero play in the steering. It's really tight. It's really nice. Alright, so here we are. Steering wheel's a little off-centered, so I'll have to pull that off and adjust that, but otherwise, man, this thing is riding nice and straight, taking the bumps pretty well. This is probably the bumpiest street in all of Arizona. I happen to live on it, so yeah, the zero play in the steering. It's super tight. I mean, it still handles like an old tour truck, but there's not much play at all in this thing. Got the nice LED turn signal lights now. Yeah, it's just steered really nice. Aside from all these crazy bumps, all these potholes. So yeah, mission successful with this gearbox install. Yeah, sweet, man. Yeah, I mean, literally tracks pretty straight. Turn signal on. Oh, that's an alleyway. I don't want to turn there. The good old boneyard, Davis Monthan Air Force Base right there. I had to go pick up some transmission fluid because tranny was slipping a little bit. Got some leaks out of my selector shaft, so that's the next job to tackle. But man, the steering is so nice in this thing now. Super pumped. Thanks for watching. Until the next project. See you guys later. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Thanks. Peace out.